So talking about, we're talking about Dansby Swanson, and we're talking about a shortstop, a legendary shortstop here. Let's take a look at a not so well-known shortstop, but one that's still kind of making his rounds in the major leagues and in the Cubs setting, Luis Vazquez.
Yeah, the Cubs just called him up earlier this week. It was a weird sort of transaction of moves. Dansby came back, Miles Mastrobuoni was sent away, PCA was sent away. So it sort of all worked out that the Cubs sent down an outfielder and brought up Luis Vazquez right as their middle infielders were getting healthy. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a bunch of playing time. Maybe he's just up just in case Nico or Dansby are, still feeling the effects of their injuries. Nick Madrigal's still on the roster, but I actually think that's a good place to start with Luis Vazquez because, like Nick Madrigal, he's a really good defender. Madrigal is obviously a third baseman and a little bit of a second baseman. Luis Vazquez is a shortstop and a second baseman. So both very good defenders. The question with Luis Vazquez is, can he hit enough? He's hit better in the minor leagues in recent years, but definitely that question still remains for him.
I think it kind of is this worry because again, defensively the Cubs are great. I mean, we saw again. I always go back to it's great seeing the Cubs play in person. When we saw the Cubs play in person in the Mets game, the or versus the Mets, excuse me, the defense was on point. Even again with so many injured players and bringing up prospects, the defense was 100% there. So I don't think we really need another defensive player is great. I just think we need more points on the board and to have a prospect who's as good looking as Luis is, but to say, well, I don't know how great his hitting is going to be is a little bit of a red flag in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right that, having a defender like Luis Vasquez on the team is great, but his utility is more in that he can cover for deficiencies on the team, and the Cubs do not have deficiencies on their middle infield defense. And so, look, Luis Vasquez OPS last year was 817, which listen, if he did that in the majors, he'd be an instant all-star with his defense. This year it was like 750 at AAA. So he can hit. It's just that, before these last couple of years, he wasn't doing a lot of it. And if he can match the 20, look, he had 20 home runs last year in the minor leagues. If he gets anywhere close to that, he's an instant everyday starter. The Cubs will find a place for him. But the Cubs haven't been scoring a lot of runs recently, with all the injuries in their lineup. And this sort of feels a lot like sort of like the Alexander Canario situation last year, where the Cubs call up this prospect who, like, on paper can help the team, but like, where is he going to get playing time? Like, why even bother giving him the roster spot if it just doesn't seem like he's going to play?
It's this constant battle of again we need to score runs, but at the same time we're going up against some. I mean, every team is legendary on their own in the MLB for their own reason, but again when you're going up against teams like the Yankees and the Orioles and the Rangers, excuse my French, but who gives a crap on how much runs who gives a crap about defense or gives a crap about runs? You kind of need your perfect 50-50 in a player. And if, it's just one or the other, it doesn't matter. You kind of need every player has their own strong suit. But again, if you lack in one versus the other, you kind of aren't going to be an asset to the team at the moment, at least. Again, that's why he's been in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, that's a good point. He's still a prospect. He's only like 24 years old. The Cubs put him on the 40-man roster this offseason to protect him. They clearly believe in him. They clearly believe in the gains he's made with his bat. So whether or not he does anything in this first major league stint, who knows? Maybe the Cubs will send him back down in a couple weeks after he gets some time with the big league club. But he's definitely a part of the future. The Cubs clearly believe in him, and I think if it's the choice is him or Nick Madrigal or him or Miles Mastrobuoni, he has much greater potential. He may not be as versatile as those two guys, but he's probably a better defender and he's definitely a better hitter. So. Or I mixed that up, but you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I think that, it's good to have him. It's good to see the Cubs, willing to pull from, their top ranks of prospects or their top ranks in the minor leagues to pull up their prospects. But again, in the short term, I don't know whether or not this move is going to make a huge difference for the Cubs.
Again, I kind of want to transition into the long term of things. We've talked so much about different prospects and different minor league players. We talked about Jefferson Rojas, we talked about PCA, we talked about Ben Brown. the Cubs have been drafting and been trading so many different, young guys.
Yeah.
But again, we have to wait. It's not going to be this season. And again, we're talking about these guys now, and again, they're great prospects, but that's all they are right now. And it's unfortunate because again, in the 2024 season, we're doing okay, but I don't think that we're going to see these guys really show their true potential until then maybe 2025, maybe even 2026 for some of these younger guys.
Yeah, for sure.